皆さん、おはこんばんにちは and 明けましておめでとうございます。今年もよろしくお願いします。That means Happy New Year, and I hope we can have a great year together this year as well. Welcome to the live stream. Today we're covering lesson 18 of Genki here on Tokini Andy. I hope you're having a great day and a great new year. But before we get started, let's go over what we're going to be doing today. So, the first thing we're going to be covering is transitive and intransitive pairs. This is kind of it's a little bit of a confusing section, and it's hard for me sometimes even. I make mistakes with this one a lot, so it's going to be a fun one to cover tonight. We're also going to be covering how to use te iru with intransitive verbs, completion and regret with te shimau, another conditional form, we've covered a couple already, the next one is to, simultaneous actions with nagara, and I wish I had done something with ba yo katta. Now, before we get started with all of that, I just wanted to say thank you to my patrons who sponsored this video. You are the sponsors of lesson 18. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to keep offering these lessons every single week for free to all of YouTube, it's just been amazing. Thank you so much for your support. For those of you who are not patrons, if you'd like to help support this channel and help get these lessons out there to everyone for free, please consider becoming a patron. On Patreon, we have stuff for you as well, such as listening and shadowing videos, tests for all of Genki 1 and eventually all of Genki 2, textbook practice videos, and vocabulary videos where you can practice all of the textbook at the end of every single lesson of Genki, and we go through all of the vocabulary in both Genki books. We're almost done. We're on lesson 18 right now. We just released lesson 18 of all of the Patreon videos this morning. We also have listening and shadowing videos for both tiers where you can practice listening to Japanese and copying Japanese and following along with Yuki and my Japanese so that you can get used to the rhythm and pronunciation of it. We also have a merch store which has been down for a couple weeks, so sorry about that, or maybe it's just down on my computer, I'm not really sure. And, well, there's YouTube. Even if you can't support financially, just hitting the like button on this video, maybe subscribing or sharing it with someone that you know who is studying Japanese is a great way to help support, and doing your best to get better and better at Japanese is another great way. If you'd like to let me know how these lessons have been helping you out, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments, so please leave a comment and let Yuki and I know how these lessons have been, if they've been helping. And if you have any questions or comments, please let us know down there as well. This is a live stream, so I'm going to be asking questions throughout it, but if you have any questions on the replay, please consider putting them in the comments because we're happy to answer your questions after the fact as well. So before we get started, this is a live stream, so let's go ahead and say hello to everyone in chat. Come to Japan Dan, thank you for being our mod again for tonight and for shooting out that merch store and the Patreon link. Lena, unpacking from a move today, so I'll have this on while unpacking passive learning today. Otsukare-sama deshita. It's very difficult moving. We just experienced that a few weeks ago. Carpe diem, I wish I had paid more attention to my English lessons. Transitive, intransitive verb pairs, lost already. Don't worry. I know those two terms are very confusing, so I'm going to be covering them, well, not too much depth, but I'm going to try to make them as simple as possible, as I always try to do. Menkong, good evening, how you doing? Arwina Mischa, konnichiwa, new mic setup, I like it, says Come to Japan Dan. Thank you, thank you. This just came in the mail yesterday. So it's finally out of my way, although now it's in your faces, but I hope you don't mind it over here. It's not too intrusive, right? Hopefully it sounds okay. Kyushu Trails, akeome, kotoshi mo yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Kyushu Trails. Hope everyone had a good Crimbo and New Year's. What is this? What is this? Something just happened on my screen, but I can't see it on the chat yet. Thank you so much. Molisiv Roop. I don't know what currency that is, but thank you for 60 of whatever it is. And that, how's it going? How's it going, Moisev? Thank you so much. What is RUB? I've never heard of it. RUB currency. I want to make sure I can answer your question there. Russian rubles. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's my first Russian rubles ever. That's exciting. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And that is, how's it going? So Yuki, we have a mic for Yuki in front of her, but we haven't set it up yet. So Yuki gets to pop into screen for this. You can talk into the mic. How's it going?
How's it going?
That's what that says. The sticker.
Ah, 本当だ.
How's it going? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
ありがとうございます。All right. Appreciate that. All right, so. Oh my goodness, that was a very, very generous. No, that's different. That's different. Thank you so much. All right, so anyway, before moving on, Chili Cat still on lesson in Genki 1, but listening to the stream need to catch up. No worries, Chili Cat. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoy your first, I don't know if it's your first one, but I hope you enjoy the live stream. Michael, 今日は学校が続くので、支度しなきゃ。頑張ってください, Michael. Good luck. Rubles. Yes, Carpe Diem. Indeed. Russian rubles. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Who else is here tonight? We've got One on It. Happy New Year, Pitovnikov. Thanks for stopping by, man. And I think that's it. Did I catch everyone? Pitovnikov, Arwina. Ah, Felipe. Felipe. I can't dab. I don't know how to do that. Anyway. All right, great. Well, that's a fun way to start. またね。明けおめ。よろしくお願いします。明けおめことよろ。All right. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. So, you ready to get started with lesson 18 and transitive and intransitive pairs? Let's go ahead and move that thing up. I'm going to give you the color codes here. Pop the chat off the screen before we get started. And ready? The first thing we're covering tonight is transitive and intransitive verb pairs. So, a couple people in chat have been mentioning, like Carpe Diem, that they don't really remember what a transitive and an intransitive verb is in English. And I'm the same. I didn't remember what the grammatical terms meant, and until I started teaching Japanese, I really didn't remember what the difference was either as far as in the terminology. Now, in its usage, it becomes pretty obvious. Transitive verbs are when someone, a subject, acts upon something else, an object. So a subject acts on an object. That's a transitive verb. So, for example, 私は ドアを開ける. 私はドアを開ける. That means I open the door. So someone acts on the door. I act on the door. I open the door. So 開ける is a transitive verb because it involves a subject, in this case myself, acting on 開ける, an object, which in this case is a door. Now, intransitive is the opposite of that. Something undergoes a change of some sort. There's no subject acting on an object. There is just an object undergoing change. In this case, the door opens. ドアが開く. ドアが開く. Now, the reason that we're introducing transivity pairs, that's what they call this in the chapter in Genki, is that there's lots of verbs in Japanese that look the same. They have the same kanji. The kanji is read the same. They mean pretty much the same thing, to open, but one is a transitive verb, ドアを開ける, open the door, and another is an intransitive verb, ドアが開く. Now, one thing you need to notice here is that transitive verbs take o. Sometimes some other particles as well, but o, right? O marks the object that is being acted upon. Whereas intransitive verbs don't take o, they take ga. ドアが開く. So that's an important thing to remember right off the bat. So let's go ahead and look at some more examples. Genki lists about, I believe, 12 verbs, 12 pairs in this lesson, and I'm not going to show you all of them right now. You can look in the book if you want, if you have it with you right now and you want to check them out quickly. But I'm going to show them all to you during the question time of this section. So if you're watching this on the replay and you'd like to see what they are right now, you can skip ahead to the question section and you'll be able to see all them if you don't have the book on you at the moment. So let's go over some example sentences. The first one is ドアを閉めた. I closed the door. So this is a transitive verb. ドアを閉めた. I closed the door. So even though there's no watashi here, you know it's a transitive verb because we've got the o particle for starters, and 閉めた, 閉める is the transitive verb for to close. So I closed the door. Here we've got が閉まった. ドアが閉まった. The door closed. Nobody closed it. The door just closed on its own. 閉まった、しまう versus 閉める, right? So 閉める is the transitive. しまう is the intransitive version. All right, the next one is 電気を消さなかった。電気を消さなかった。I didn't turn off the light. 電気が消えなかった。The light didn't turn off. So you see, these are similar. They've got the same kanji. In this situation, the reading is a little bit different, but it's not always the case. In this one, it's the same reading. It's 閉めた、しまう。閉めた、閉まった. In the past tense, it's actually quite difficult to tell the difference if you haven't memorized them. And that is the sad thing about this lesson. I don't have any good news for you in this lesson. There's very little good news in this one. Or at least there's very little good news in this section. So a lot of you came here during lesson 3 of Genki, and I had some great news for you there. The great news was that it's really, really easy, actually, to conjugate verbs into their mas form. All you do is you move up on the chart to the E section and then add mas. So, for example, aruku becomes arukimasu. Well, there's no trick like that for transitive and intransitive verbs because it's not a conjugation. Technically, they're different words. They use the same kanji and they mean something very similar, but they're just different words, which means you just have to memorize them and you have to memorize how they're used. And this is one reason why I strongly recommend having sentences for every single word that you learn. So if you have an Anki deck that's just words all by themselves, well, this is one of the problems you're going to run into. You may have a verb for to open, aku and akiru, what was the other one? Aku and akeru, right? Aku and akeru. And you're like, well, they're both to open. What's the difference? But if you had a sentence on your deck, it's quite simple to see that one is taking a subject, watashi wa doa wo akeru, versus one doesn't have a subject and it has a ga particle as opposed to an o particle, doa ga aku. So try and add sentences to your Anki decks if you're using Anki or whatever you're using to learn vocabulary, or at least look up sentences when you learn new words, because that will help you a lot in figuring out how it's actually used. And this is one of the main, not one of the main, but it's one big situation where it's very, very helpful. I hate that shows up there. Okay, our next sentences are keitai wo otosanakatta. Ochita yo. Here's a difficult sentence here. Keitai wo otosanakatta. Ochita yo. I didn't drop the phone. It fell. So there's the big difference between transitive and intransitive, right? Otosu is to drop. A subject drops. Whereas ochita, it fell on its own. It's an intransitive verb. The phone fell. It doesn't require a subject. Nobody acted upon it. It just fell down. Keitai wo otosanakatta. I didn't drop the phone. Ochita yo. It fell, man. All right, our next two sentences are together. It's person A and B talking. It's yogosanai de, don't get it dirty. Mo yogoreta yo. It's already dirty, you know. So yogosu is to get dirty. Yogoreru is to be dirty. So transitive verb, yogos. Intransitive, yogoreru. Mo yogoreta. It's already dirty. You know, I didn't get it dirty. It's already dirty. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our dialogue, and then I'll get to your questions because I feel like there might be quite a few for this section. It's quite, what it comes down to is you just have to memorize whether they're transitive or intransitive. And you can do that by having a sentence. But there's no trick. It's just some verbs are transitive and some verbs are intransitive, and some of them look very similar, so get some sentences, man. All right, so our dialogue for today, we've got Rei-san and Yuki. Mado wo aite kudasai. So Rei-san is a gaikokujin. She's a foreigner, and Yuki is a Japanese person. Mado wo aite kudasai? Ah, akete kudasai ne. Ah, so, akete kudasai. Aircon ga kowashita kara atsui. Kowashita no? どうやって? All right, let's go full speed. 窓を開いてください。窓を開いてください？あ、開けてくださいね。あ、そう、開けてください。エアコンが壊したから 暑い。壊したの？どうやって? So you may notice we have some common mistakes here that I know myself personally has made many, many times. So, 窓を開いてください. Please, the window is open. That's what this actually sounds like to the Japanese person listening. Please, the window is open. Huh? So this is a transitive verb. This is a intransitive verb. So what she's saying is the window is open, please. It doesn't make any sense. It's gibberish. Doesn't make sense. 窓を開いてください. The closest I could get was, please, the window open is, or something like that. Huh? 窓を開いてください. Please, the window is open? 開けてくださいね. Open it, please. Right, you want me to open the door. I get it now. 開けてくださいね. So this is a very common mistake with these verbs. You're going to make them 100 times. I made mistakes with intransitive versus transitive verbs today. We were at Yuki's parents, and I was speaking, and I caught myself quite a few times. I would say, 開いている instead of, well, I don't remember the exact example, but I've done this a million times. Just try to catch yourself. All right, next one. そう、開けてください. Yeah. Open it, please. エアコンが壊したから. This might be a mistake too. 暑い. I broke the air conditioner, so it's hot. 壊した. I broke it. I wonder if that's correct. We'll find out in the next section. Stick around to find out if she actually broke the air conditioner, and if she did, why? 壊したの? You broke it? How? どうやって means how. How did that happen? So our question for this section, if you want to call it a question, use one of the following intransitive verbs, this is the list from Genki, to describe something that happened today. Describe something that happened. Not that you did, just something that happened around you without your volition involved. So the verbs that I want you to use, you can use one or more, are 開く, opened, 閉まる, closed, 入る, to go in, 出る, to go out, つく, to go on, for example, like a light, to go on, 消える, to go out, or like a light or a flame to go out, 壊れる, to be broken, or to be, broke, 汚れる, to be dirty, or to get dirty, 落ちる, to fall, and 沸く, to boil. So I want you to use one of those verbs or more to describe something that happened around you today. Let's go ahead and jump into chat. Hopefully I can remember to turn off the chat before going on to the next section. All right. Thank you so much again, Moisiv. I really appreciate it. Still on lesson. I read that. Andy, yo, ohayo, this and that. Oh, long time no see, man. How's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Sensei. So in other words, transitive verbs need a direct object. Exactly. Transitive verbs need a direct object. But they also need an actor. An actor needs to act upon a direct object. That's what a transitive verb is doing. The intransitive verbs have an object, but nobody is doing anything to the object. Something is happening to the object. That's another way to explain it. I guess I should have thrown that into my explanation. So transitive verbs, something is doing something to an object. And for intransitive, something is happening to an object. The object could be me. Something could be happening to me, but yeah. ドアを開ける. Exactly. But for some reason, people use almost exclusively katakana for doa nowadays. 閉まる, not 閉まう. Yeah, 閉まる. Sorry. 閉まるね. 閉まう is なんだっけ? 閉まう is also a verb. 閉まう is to put away, I think. So, 閉まう. ありがとう。違う問題だったか。shimaru is to close, shimao is to clean up or to put something somewhere. It sounded like Andy said shimao twice. Yeah, I did say shimao. It was shimaru. Sorry, I messed that one up. See, I still mess it up. Dictionary usually gives to be open, closed, so it's not that hard to distinguish them. Fair enough. So I was just pointing that out. Gotcha. Open the window. Konbanwa, Kate. How's it going? Hey, all. Hope everyone is doing awesome. Hope you are too, Jasmine, for the win. Thanks for stopping by. 彼女は消えた。彼女は消えた? Oh no. お湯が沸きました。紅茶を入れましたからいいですね。今朝は朝ごはんがあれ燃えました you burned your food in a fire. I'm assuming you meant that the food got burnt. Unless you literally burnt it in a fire. If you want to say your food got burnt, you would use 焦げるだね。焦げる。焦げたね。イノシシの鼻でカメラが壊れた Oh no! Your camera broke? That's a bummer. Already? Those things are supposed to be pretty strong. No, did he really attack it? I hope you got a good video out of it at least. 問題があります。パソコンが閉まる
ラップトップだったらこれが閉まるよね。
パソコンが閉まる That's his problem. Your computer closes? Or do you mean it stops? I'm not sure what you mean there. みんな大正解じゃん。錦蛇Python 錦蛇のケースのグラスが消えていた Harry Potter? Ooh, nice one. 擬態
そうなんだ。
それハリーポッターじゃない錦蛇のケースのグラスが消えていたそれハリーポッターの文章じゃないかな Crashes crashes それなんだろうI don't think you'd use 閉まる for that. You would use 何ですか
ラッシュってどういう状態
クラッシュっていうのはもう動けなくなったそうでブーってオフになるってやつ悲しい顔が出てくるやつたまにアスースちゃんがあったこと
パソコンがクラッシュして
クラッシュYuki thinks that we would use カタカナクラッシュ
そういうことはカタカナだと思う
これクラッシュ
クラッシュバンディングのクラッシュだよ
We use crash. Often for computer terms, for computer terminology, we use katakana stuff, which is, it ends up just being the same as English. So, crash した。crash. パソコンのクラッシュがクラッシュした。So, I don't know if you consider that, I guess you would consider that an intransitive verb. クラッシュした。Let's go ahead and look it up. I'll bring up my browser right here. Browser. Patreon! Jisho. Kurash. There it is. Noun, pseudoverb. I guess pseudoverbs are different. They're not quite considered intransitive or transitive. But anyway, Yuki's got something else she wants to mention. What's up? Nani? ギターの紐は折れた。大変だ。汚れてない。壊れてないよ。汚れた。汚れた。確かに汚れた。イノシシの鼻でカメラが汚れた。なるほど。Good call. イノシシの鼻がめっちゃドロドロでレンズが汚れた。大変だ。Is it easy enough to... I feel like those are pretty easy to clean, right? I hope they're easy enough to clean. Gotcha. All right. How would I say my cat rang my doorbell? それはユキ頑張ってもらおうかな。猫がドアベルを鳴らす。鳴らす is the present tense. So I'll just put that. 鳴らす to say she did it. 鳴らした。But that's not intransitive. It's a transitive verb. The cat acted upon the doorbell. So it's a little bit different than what we're doing here. But did that really happen? That's pretty amazing. All right. It was easy to clean, but ruined like 5 clips. Oh, it's a bummer. All the clips that came after that were probably ruined, eh? It's a bummer. 難しいのですが、ギターの弦を弦だね。弦が切れただと思います。Pitovnikov. 確かに。弦。It's a fun kanji. I like the kanji for弦。弦が切れた。I'm still on 4th lesson of Genki 1, but thanks very much for your work. Thank you, Ya! Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by and letting us know that they're helping you out. I hope to see you again when you're back on this lesson in a few months or a few weeks, whenever you make it here. Hope you're enjoying or finding lesson 4 useful. Yes, she stands in the bin next to it and rings when she wants in. Wow, that's amazing. Did you train her to do that, or did she did she figure it out on her own? That's so cool. All right, guys, good job. So our next section has to do with intransitive verbs as well, and it's how intransitive verbs act when you use the te iru form, because you can still use the te iru form with intransitive verbs, but it means something a little bit different than if you use it with transitive verbs. So with transitive verbs, when you use the te iru form, it means that someone is doing something. Someone is doing something. For example, watashi wa... I need to figure out how to make that not happen. Watashi wa doa wo kowashiteiru. I'm in the process of destroying or breaking my door. Watashi wa doa wo kowashiteiru. I'm breaking my door. Whereas an intransitive verb with the te iru form means that something is in a particular state of being. For example, doa ga kowareteiru. The door is broken. The door is broken. It's in the state of being broken, is how you could think of it, if that makes it a little bit easier. But doa wo kowashiteiru, I'm actively breaking the door, versus doa ga kowareteiru. The door is broken. So let's go ahead and go over some examples for that. We've got doa ga aiteiru. The door is... Oops, I didn't change the sentence. There was one mistake we missed there. The door is open. The door is open, not closed. Let's just go. You know what? Let's just do this. Door is open. Boom. Present. All right. Door... Something happened with the Google update, and now that pops up. They updated slides to make this little, see that thing? Who wants that? Nobody wants that. Door ga aiteiru. The door is open. Genki ga kieteiru. The light is off. So it's not in the process of being turned off, or it's not in the process of going off. It is off. It's in this state of being. Kieteiru. Neko ga haiteiru. The cat is inside something. Haiteiru. Some more complicated sentences. We have oyu wo wakashite kurenai. Wouldn't you boil water for me? Oyu wo wakashite kurenai. Mou waiteiru yo. It's already boiling, actually. So it's in the state of boiling. The water is boiling right now. Mou waiteiru yo. I'm not going to boil water right now. Like, I'm not in the process of standing in front of the stove, putting the water on the stove and boiling it. It's boiling. It's already boiling, actually. Waiteiru yo. Denki wo keshi ni itta kedo, mou kiete ita. I went to turn off the light. Denki wo keshi ni itta kedo, but it was already off. Mou kiete ita. Past tense of teiru. Kiete ita. Let's go ahead and do our dialogue. I'll do it one time slowly, then at full speed. I'll go over the English translation. We'll do the question, and then I'll answer any questions you might have on this section. Let's put this up. 壊している。あ、壊れているね。そうか。ありがとう。他の窓も見てきます。閉めているなら開きます。閉まっているなら開けます。やばい。日本語が下手くそすぎる。下手くそすぎる。大丈夫だよ。日本語は 難しいよね。full speed. 壊している？あ、壊れているね。そうか。ありがとう。他の窓も見てきます。閉めているなら開きます。閉まっているなら開けます。やばい。日本語が下手くそすぎる。大丈夫だよ。日本語は難しいよね。Let's go over the English quick. Alright, so, 壊している？I'm breaking it right now ってこと。あ、壊れているね。あ、it's broken, right? So there we got the intransitive. 壊れているね。It's broken. そうか。I see. ありがとう。Thanks. 他の窓も見てきます。I'll go and come back and check the other windows. 閉めているなら開きます。If I'm closing them, they will be open. That's what this means. 閉めているなら開きます。If I am in the process of closing them, they will be open. Which I guess technically isn't a false statement, but not probably what she wanted to say. 閉まっているなら開けます。If they're closed, you will open them. やばい。Jeez or God or damn it. 日本語が下手くそすぎる。I'm terrible at Japanese. 下手くそ is bad at, not good at something. I'm terrible at Japanese. 日本語が下手くそすぎる。大丈夫だよ。Don't worry about it. 日本語は難しいよね。Japanese is difficult, isn't it? Now, I know someone's going to ask why did I use wa here instead of ga? Ga would be perfectly fine, but I want to be specific about the fact that Japanese is difficult. Japanese ga 難しいよね would mean that among other languages, Japanese is also possibly difficult. It's not emphasizing that Japanese is difficult if you use ga. It's emphasizing that it's difficult. But here we're emphasizing that Japanese specifically is difficult, which is what a lot of people think, I think, that Japanese is more difficult than other languages, which I don't necessarily believe, but we're not going to get into that right now. The wa emphasizes that Japanese is difficult, isn't it? All right, so similar question to the one before. Use one of the following intransitive verbs to describe your surroundings. So the things around you, same exact verbs as before. This one means opened, closed, going in, going out, on, off, broken, dirty, falling, or fallen, or fall, and boiling. So, 暖房がついている。The heater is on. パソコンがついている。電気がついている。Everything is on. What else do I have here? Let's see. これが落ちている。これが落ちていた。This was fallen on the ground. これが落ちていた。Styrofoam. I too am terrible at Japanese, says one on it. So let's go ahead and check out if you guys have any questions in chat. Good call. Come to Japan, Dan. Thank you for the scream for likes. Join in and smash the like button. She figured it out by herself. She also walks with me to the post box and will cross the road by the crossing. That's amazing. Sticky sugiru, says Yuki-chan. Hola, Mortengosh. How you doing? Cats are awesome, says Kyushu Trails. I agree. Although I kind of want a dog. I too am terrible at Japanese, says one on it. そんなことないよ。ペンが落ちている. A pen is fallen on the ground. Good one, man. 部屋でギターのアンプはとっても騒ぐ。うるさいかな。うるさい is what you'd want to use there. うるさい。騒ぐ is more like people partying and stuff like that. はい、何？騒がしい。でもうるさいより使うこの場合。
もっとガチャガチャしてる。いろんなものがガチャガチャして
る。ならば違うじゃん。ギターのアンプがうるさいってこと。そう。Sawagu is more like a party, people dancing around, you know, and even the adverb, which Yuki was also just mentioning before, is more like that. There's various things making lots of noise. urusai is what you're going for there. All right. パソコンのキーボードが壊れている. You should get on that, man. Oh no. So sorry. I recommend this. Oh, I can't show you on screen. I can't bring it up, can I? The Corsair. I don't even know what edition is. But I like it. 君が覚えていない。覚えていないの? K さん。何が覚えていないんですか? あ、君の名そうだね。部屋が汚れている。掃除しなきゃいけない。汚れてるっていうかな。汚れてるって聞くとなんかマッがついてるって感じしない？でも確かに使えるんだよね。汚れてる。合ってる。合ってるよ。OK。マイクがついている。マイクがついてる。いいですね。ファンチパンツキーボードアンディすげえ。まあね。私のお茶が手から落ちた。Oh no! You dropped your tea? Or it fell out of your hands? I guess you didn't drop it. Your tea fell out of your hands. Well, that's not good. I hope you can clean it up soon. スマホのスクリーンが壊れている。それは悲しいね。That's a sad thing. Does it hurt your fingers when you use it, or do you have like a protector? Because whenever my phones have broken and I've had to use them for a few more days or a few more weeks, my fingers feel like they're getting tiny little cuts. It's the worst feeling in the world. Alright guys, good sentences. Does anyone have any questions about this section? Or any questions in general about any section ever? 子供たちが汚れている。子供たちが汚れている。子供たちが汚れている。お前、どういうこと？大人の文章って。知りたくない。そうなんだ。多分違うと思います。そんな深い意味がないと思うんですけれど、どうかしら。I think the children just need a bath. Broken just from the inside on the protector. Ah, okay. That's okay then. Alright. So it doesn't look like anyone has any major questions about this section. 特に息子の頭。シャンプーしたれよって says Yuki. We gotta get her that mic hooked up. Alright, so nice. Well, if anyone has any other questions before I get started on the next section, please let me know and I will be happy to answer them. But it sounds like you're doing okay. I want to make sure that I can be heard on this microphone. It's a little bit behind me. There we go. Okay, that's probably better. So, めっちゃ暑いんだね、そのヒーター。そこには直接当たってるから、どうしようそれ。The heater in this room, it's quite a ways over there, but for some reason, no matter which way we aim it, it hits me directly in the face. So it's kind of, I get very hot while I'm streaming, not to mention I have these huge lights in my face. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump on to the next section. It's 9:40 p.m. We have 29 concurrent viewers and 25 likes. Please smash that like button if you're enjoying this lesson or finding it helpful. And thank you for being here tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into completing and or regretting in Japanese. Let me go ahead and stop right there. How do you conjugate transitive versus intransitive? Maybe I missed that part. Same. There's no differences in conjugations. Yeah. Exactly the same as you would conjugate any other verb. Yeah. So, aku, for example, if you want to do the mas conjugation, you do it just like any other verb. You go up to the e column. So, akimasu, add mas. So exactly the same. There's no differences. All right. Completing and or regretting. So, completion and regret with te shimau. We're learning te shimau today. And all you have to do to make the shimau form, I guess, is to take the te form of any verb and add shimau, which basically means to do something completely. But it tends to have a nuance of regretting that you did that thing completely. So there's very frequently that nuance of, not always, but most of the time of regret. Now, Genki teaches that it has that nuance of regret, but it also teaches that it means just to do something to completion, which is not incorrect. But when you use the informal form, which is te form plus minus te plus chao and jiao, this depends on the ending. So I'll show you the difference. So any te form that ends in de instead of te, you get rid of the de and a jiao. So those really frequently or almost always tend to hold a sense of regret, that you probably shouldn't have done the thing. Not necessarily that you regret it like a painful regret, like kokai, like I really, really wish I didn't do that. But like it has a sense that maybe you shouldn't have. And sometimes also has a sense of regret in it. So you need to be careful with it. You don't want to use it just to be like, I finished making lunch. Like if you want to say to your friend who came over for lunch, you say, hiru gohan mo tsukutte shimatta. You don't want to just say, I finished making lunch like that. That's not how it's going to work. That's going to sound like you accidentally finished making lunch. You weren't supposed to finish making lunch, but you did. Which is probably not what you want to say in that sense. The situation you'd want to use that sentence in would be if your friend brought hamburgers from a really good restaurant that you both like, but you already made lunch. Then you would say something like, ohiru wa mo tsukutte shimatta. I already made lunch. That's the kind of situation that you'd be using this te shimao in, usually. So let's go over some example sentences. I just wanted to mention that shimao conjugates exactly like a godan verb. So it's an u, it ends in u. So you just, for example, if you were doing the mas form, you'd move up to i, shimai masu. So let's go over some example sentences. Gohan wo tsukuchatta. There's that sentence from before. I finished making food, but it depends on the context, obviously, but probably that's not what I should have done. Yabai. Oh no. Denki ga kiechatta. Oh no. The light went out. Now we're using an intransitive verb here, so the light went out. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything special. I also didn't color chatta, but it went out, and I'm not happy about it in a sense. It wasn't supposed to go out. Not sure why it went out, but it did go out, so I'm using kiechatta. This is something you might hear at the beginning of a scene in a horror movie. Yabai! Denki ga kiechatta. Next sentence is, inu ga haitte shimaimashita. The dog went inside completely. Now, it could just mean that the dog went all the way inside, but the dog probably went inside something that the dog wasn't supposed to go inside of. Like, I don't know, the baby's crib or something. Inu ga haitte shimatta. Into the crib. Okay. More complicated sentences here. We've got two people talking. Oyu wo wakashite kureta? Did you boil water for me? Wasurechatta. Gomen. I forgot. Sorry. This is something you're going to hear all the time. This exact word right here. Wasurechatta. Wasureru is to forget. Wasurechatta means I forgot. And most people aren't very happy about the fact that they've forgotten something. So wasureta just means like I forgot. Yeah, wasureta. But there's no nuance there that you feel bad about it. It's just a statement of fact, I forgot it. But if you want to be like, oh my god, I unintentionally forgot about it, and you want to express that it was unintentional and that you regret it, wasurechatta or wasurete shimaimashita for the formal, polite version. Wasurechatta. Oh no. Wasurechatta. I forget things all the time. Our next sentence is, Tokyo de asonjatte okane ga nakunatta. I hung out in Tokyo completely. I unexpectedly and completely played in Tokyo, literally. Okane ga nakunatta. And my money went away. And I'm broke is how I translated that in the sort of free translation. And the literal translation is I unexpectedly and completely played in Tokyo. And my money went away. Kiechatta. Nakunatta. I could have said okane ga kiechatta. That would also have worked here. Tokyo de asonjatte okane ga nakunatta. So you'll see here chatta, jatte. So asobu, bu for the te form ends in nde. Asonde. So if it ends in de, it's jao. If it ends in te, wasurete, chao. For the informal versions. Let's go ahead and go over the dialogue. I'll read it slowly one time, then at full speed, I'll go over the English. We'll look at the question for this section, and then I'll answer any questions that you guys might have about this section or anything else. Okay. Andy's jumped in here. どうしたの? 最近日本語をたくさん間違えてしまう。まあ、ぶっちゃけ俺も間違えちゃうよ。もうアメリカに帰ってしまおうかな。やめてよ。帰っちゃうともう戻ってこれない。Full speed どうしたの？最近日本語をたくさん間違えてしまう。まあぶっちゃけ俺も間違えちゃうよ。もうアメリカに帰ってしまおうかな。やめてよ。帰っちゃうともう戻ってこれ帰っちゃうともう戻ってこれない。Let's go over the English. どうしたの？ What's wrong? Very, very common phrase. If you don't know this phrase yet and you're in lesson 18, well, you know what to put into your next set of cards on Anki. どうしたの？ What's wrong? 最近日本語をたくさん間違えてしまう。Recently, I make many mistakes. Make mistakes. 間違えてしまう。間違える。I make many mistakes with Japanese. Sorry. なんかある？あ、間違えるね。間違える。Thank you. Recently, I make many mistakes with Japanese. And I'm not happy about it. That's what the shimao is. I make complete mistakes and I'm not happy about it. まあ、ぶっちゃけ俺も間違えちゃうよ。I meant to make this black and light blue because this is definitely not in Genki and it's probably not in Quartet and it's probably not in Tobita, but I'm not sure. So, ぶっちゃけ is sort of slangy. It's a very informal word. It means 正直, which is the more formal version of this, which means honestly or to tell you the truth. So it's a very informal honestly or to tell you the truth. ぶっちゃけ俺も間違えちゃうよ. Well, honestly, I also make mistakes, you know. 間違えちゃうよ. もうアメリカに帰ってしまおうかな. So this is the volitional form of しまう, しまおう. I guess maybe I'll just go back to America already. So she's thinking about it. しまおうかな. やめてよ. Shut up. やめて means stop. But in this case, it sounds to me more like a shut up. やめてよ. 帰っちゃうともう戻ってこれない. If you go home, you won't be able to come back. 戻ってくる is, of course, to come back. So you can't come back. This is the potential form of, so cannot, 戻る。戻ってこれない。いいよ、寒かったらつけていいよ。大丈夫。Alright, so question time. Tell us a one-sentence story about something you regret doing. A one-sentence story, you regret it. So mine is, 子供の時、タバコを吸ってしまった。So I smoked when I was a kid and I'm not happy about it. I quit about 2 years ago now, so it's okay. But anyway. So tell us a very short one-sentence story about something that you regret doing. It doesn't have to be in your childhood. It could be literally at any time in your life. It could be right now, but let me know. If you are hot, you could take your banana off. That is true, I could, but I only have on heat tech under here, so I actually can't take it off because that would just look ridiculous. Chatta? Chatta is the past tense version of chao. So if we go up to, can I skip faster? No. So if we go up to here, right? Te shimao, the informal versions are get rid of the te and add chao, or get rid of the de if it's a verb that a te form that ends in de, like asobu becomes asonde. So you drop the de. Asonjao. Asonjao. Aruku. Aruite. Aruichao. Aruku. Aruichao. Aruichao. So that's how you make shimao in informal conversation. You rarely say te shimao in informal conversation. You shorten it to this, and you conjugate all of these as godan verbs. So you te shimaimasu, aruichaimasu. So you conjugate chao as a godan verb as well, and jao as well. Asonjaimasu. So sometimes in semi-formal conversations, you'll conjugate the informal versions of shimao as mas form. So, 遊んじゃいますとかって、you'll use sometimes. It's actually quite frequent. セールだと買っちゃいます. Ah, yeah. If there's a sale, I buy something. セールだと買っちゃいます. That was Yuki's on the spot version. What's the difference between Chao and Jiao? I think I just explained that, but just in case you missed that explanation, Chao is for verbs with how can I put this? Chao is for verbs whose te form ends in te, so like aruku becomes aruite, and jiao is for verbs whose te form ends in de. So asobu becomes asonde. That's the te form of asobu. Asonde. So you drop the te or the de, depending on which it is, and add chao for the te form ones and jiao for the de ones. It's a little bit confusing, but if you've learned the te form, I think you can probably figure it out. 最近食べ過ぎてしまいました。言いたい？はい。お正月だから。何言った？日本許されでもされるはまだ覚えてないから許しますって。There's a thing in Japan called お正月太りか。お正月太り。お正月太り。お正月太り。There you go. And it means to get fat during the New Year's holidays. And I definitely did that this New Year's holidays. I ate so much ice cream and chocolate. I didn't drink much. I had a couple beers. But I don't think I stopped eating for the entire holiday. Well, we were at Yuki's parents' house. I think myself and her brother-in-law, we just ate and played Cuphead. And watched other people run in long-distance races. Okay. ぶっちゃけ納豆を食べちゃいます。Go for it, man. I hope you enjoy it. 食べちゃいました。ぶっちゃけ納豆を食べちゃいました。You're not happy about it, I take that? So the ぶっちゃけ is to tell you the truth. I think you figured that out. To tell you the truth or honestly. So when someone says something and you want to give them your opinion about it, and it's probably not something that they're expecting, but you want to be straightforward about it. ぶっちゃけ。はい、どうしたの？まあそうかもしれないけど。Yuki said, did you accidentally eat your wife's or your girlfriend's important natto? She says maybe that's what the problem is, but そうじゃないと思うけど。小学生の時、試験に遅刻してしまった。大変だ。許された。そうだね。擬態が had a zinger box a day since Christmas. Zinger, and I have no idea what that means. What's a zinger box? 大学院の頃は惚れちゃう？惚れちゃったね。惚れちゃった。まあ、でもそのさ、惚れちゃうってその前にso it's a transitive verb. 女の子に誰かにそれが置いとけないの？なんか伏せるかどうかってこと？私みたいに。そう。惚れちゃったとかって言えないの？でもそういう。Yuki's saying you need a direct object, and I'm asking if you can leave it out, like if you can drop it. And if you're already talking about a person, and I'm guessing this is what she's gonna say, and I think she's disagreeing that this is correct. Okay, yeah, it is. If you're already talking about the person that you fell in love with, and so someone says, wow, she's so cool, and then you maybe respond with, 惚れちゃった would be okay. But otherwise, in a sentence like this, you need to actually put, for example, 女の子に惚れちゃった. So I fell in love with a girl or something like that. So you need to have the object there. And it's に fell in love. So 惚 惚れる takes 2。宇宙を落ちてしまった。おー。天使ってこと。Okay. Okay. 本当に is closer to what I meant. Yes. 宇宙から落ちてしまった。そうだね。宇宙から落ちてしまった。So you fell from the sky is what you mean ね。宇宙から落ちてしまいました。毎日、夜更かししてしまったから、仕事に戻るのが辛いかも。気持ちわかる。I haven't been staying up too late. I did stay up decently late. Probably a little bit too late, but word. When do you go back to work, Dan? When is your first day back? I've got one more week. 俺も仕事に戻りたくねえな。ぶっちゃけ仕事に戻りたくねえな。That's a time that you could use ぶっちゃけ. It's very informal. So if you wanna say something like ぶっちゃけ, like honestly, what you're gonna wanna be using there most of the time, if they're not people that are close to you, is 正直. So there's the word that you're going to be using in place of ぶっちゃけ in normal conversation. 正直仕事に戻りたくないです. To be completely honest with you, I don't feel like going back to work is what you would say there. If you're just talking to your friends though, you're out at the bar or whatever, ぶっちゃけ仕事に戻りたくねえな. I really don't feel like going back to work. I mean, like, the universe fell down. How do I say that? 宇宙が落ちてきた。宇宙が落ちてきてしまいましたかな。宇宙が落ちてきてしまいましたかな。I think that's what you would be going for there. That the universe fell down. I guess. いや、全くわかりませんよ。I don't know what you mean exactly, but translating that English directly into Japanese, that's what you would be going for. Okay. Our next section is another conditional. So we've got one more conditional to go through. We've already gone through nara and tara. We're going to be sort of hinting at yet another one at the end of this lesson, which is ridiculous. I'm not happy about it, but I'll complain about that later. But this one is pretty straightforward. It's the to conditional, not the to particle. The to particle, it means and you connect nouns with it. But this is the to conditional. So to use the to conditional, you just take a sentence in its short form present tense. Short form present tense only. An adjective followed by to, an adjective with da to, and a noun with da to, always in the present. So you're never going to have da to, it's always going to be da to. And just an adjective on its own, to, and short form present tense to. So sentence A ending in the present tense short form, followed by sentence B. Whenever A occurs, then B also occurs. Or whenever A occurs, something becomes B. So these are the only two main situations that you can use it for. You cannot use to if you're wanting to make a request or a command or suggestion or an invitation in sentence B. You can't use it before that. And you can't use it for hypotheticals, like if I had done this or if this had happened, then I would have done that. Like you're able to use tara for hypotheticals. If you remember, you could say like, 宝くじに当たったら何しますか? If you hit the lottery, what would you do? You can't use to for that, for hypotheticals. That's not what to is for. But to is a whenever A occurs, then B also occurs. So that's the main difference between tara and to. You can't use to for hypotheticals, and you can't follow to with requests, commands, suggestions, invitations, or the volitional form, which you can do with tara. Let's go over some example sentences. 寒いと眠くなる. Whenever it's cold, I become sleepy. So whenever this happens, this also happens. Which could also be translated in English as, if it's cold, then I get sleepy. So it can be like an if, but these things both occur together without fail, I guess is how it would go, without fail. 怖い映画だとトイレに行きたくなる。Whenever it's a scary movie, I start wanting to go to the toilet. Ever since I was a child, if I was watching a scary movie, to get away, I pretended I had to go to the toilet. So I just have to go to the bathroom whenever I watch horror movies because I did that when I was a kid. My dad made me watch a lot of horror movies when I was a kid, and I didn't want to watch horror movies. So when I say a kid, I was like 4, and I was watching... What was I watching? I don't remember. Horror movies. 怖い映画だと whenever it's a scary movie, トイレに行きたくなる. I become one to go to the toilet is what that literally means. 行きたくなる, I become one to go to the toilet. That's generally how you'd make this construction. 静かだと whenever it's quiet, ドキドキしてしまう. I get scared. My heart beats really fast. ドキドキしてしまう. Regretfully, I'm not happy about it, but whenever it's quiet, I get nervous. Doki doki can also mean nervous. I get scared or nervous. Doki doki shite shimau. Shizuka dato doki doki shite shimau. Some more complicated sentences. We have fuyu ni naru to, whenever it becomes winter. Influenza ni kakaru. Whenever it becomes winter, I get the flu. Kakaru, some people may wonder why it's ni instead of ga. Influenza ga kakaru. Well, kakaru, the verb for getting a cold or getting the flu or some kind of disease, kakaru takes the ni particle. And that's because it means something like, I looked it up in Japanese, and it means, the definition for kakaru is byoki ni ao. So it's like you meet with a disease. That's what it's sort of defined as. So it takes ni. Because meeting with something, ao takes ni. Influenza ni kakaru. Whenever it becomes winter, I get the flu, or I meet with the flu. And I usually do, except for last winter. Let's hope this winter is similar. Onaka ga suku to, whenever I get hungry, iraira shichao. I get completely annoyed. I'm not happy about it, but that's what happens. Iraira shichao. Iraira suru. So these, I showed you one other one of these. It was doki doki suru. Doki doki is also just a word that explains the sound of your heart beating really fast or just means nervous. But you can use it as a suru verb to mean I'm scared or I'm nervous. Doki doki suru. And ira ira means that someone is annoyed or something is annoying. Ira ira suru means to get annoyed. Ira ira shichao. Hito ga takusan iru to, when there are many people. Hazukashiku naru. I become shy or embarrassed. So a very common construction with to is to have an adjective after the to and naru. Hazukashiku naru. Become that adjective. Very, very common. Info abroad. Ohayou gozaimasu. Banana money. Thank you for the bananas. We will buy ourselves some bananas. Yuki-san, yonde kudasai.
Hello, Info Abroad. いつもありがとうございます。どうも。おはようございます。バナナマニ。
Arigato. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. I will get to the rest of the chat, though, in a few moments. Before I get to that, let's go ahead and go through the dialogue. It's a quite long one. I'll read it slowly one time, then at full speed. I'll go over the English, then we'll go over the question section, and I'll get to your questions, and I'll thank Info Abroad again. Thank you. 帰ると戻ってこれないの？うん、入れてくれないよ。そうか。日本語は難しいけど、勉強するとうまくなるよ。頑張って。はい、頑張ります。今、勉強したらどう？いや、夜になると眠くなるから朝になったら勉強する。Full speed. 戻ると戻ってこれないの？うん、入れてくれないよ。そうか。日本語は難しいけど勉強するとうまくなるよ。頑張って。はい、頑張ります。今勉強したらどう？いや、夜になると眠くなるから朝になったら勉強する。 Let's go over the English for that, and I'm going to explain why I have quite a few different conditionals in there. And that's to express what the difference worked. Okay. I think I fixed it. Phew. No, I'm having OBS troubles today. OBS is giving me lots of trouble. I'm not sure why. It could have something to do with that the computer was in below freezing temperatures for a couple of days, but everything seems to be working fine. The temperatures are fine on the computer. I don't think anything's wrong with the computer. I think it's OBS Studio giving me trouble. So, I'm back. Quality is down. I imagine that'll take a while. One of the problems is that I'm running this in ultra low latency, but you know what? No, that's not the problem. It's definitely an OBS Studios problem. OBS Studios is my streaming software, so what can you do? All right, let me just go ahead and finish this section. So, did I already explain this section? Please let me know in chat if I already finished explaining this before I froze on stream. Did I already finish explaining this sentence? Quality is good for me. It's not blurry for me. That's good. Also, I thought it was my computer. Nope, nope, nope. Once again, I'll get to all of your questions in a moment. I should have the timestamps up on here. Toggle timestamps. There we go. Refresh, it's fine now. So did I already cover this sentence? 日本語は難しいけど、勉強すると上手くなるよ。頑張って。Did I completely finish that and move on to this page? Or was I still working on this sentence? Anyone? No? Give everyone a minute to get that message. You were about to tell us about different conditionals. So I didn't do any of this, is what you mean? どこにフリーズしたんだろう? このページ? 帰ると戻ってくれない. Okay, so I missed a lot. Oh well, I really liked my explanations too. Okay. So, Happy New Year's, Lazarus. Thanks for stopping by. No worries, man. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. Got thrown off pace there a little bit. Why you chose those specific conditionals for those sentences? Right, I'm going to get there in a minute as soon as I cover all of these things first. So, 帰ると戻ってこれないの? If you go back, you can't return, or if I go back, I can't return. Go back is 帰る, to go home or to go back to America. You can't come back. 入れてくれないよ. Yeah, they won't let you in, you know? Okay, here we go. そうか, I see. 日本語は難しいけど, Japanese is difficult, but 勉強すると, if you study, 上手くなるよ. You will get good at it, or you will get better at it. 勉強すると, whenever you study, 上手くなるよ. You will get better at it, you know? 頑張って, try your best, or do your best, or work hard. 頑張って. はい。頑張ります. Got it. I'll do my best. Someone asked recently in the Discord, they saw someone speaking casually to each other, and then one person said 頑張って, and the other person said 頑張ります, which is, we froze again, which is the mas form, the more polite version of 頑張る. And they asked if that was sort of very common, and it is pretty common actually to say 頑張ります in response to 頑張って or 頑張ってください, regardless of whether you're speaking in polite conversation or in informal conversation. 頑張ります is what you say when you say you're gonna try hard. 今勉強したらどう? How about you study now? 勉強したらどう? Now, you cannot put a suggestion after the to particle of what someone should do, like どうですか? So you need to use たら. But actually, たらどうですか is a grammatical construction all on its own. 勉強したらどうですか means how about you study now, or what if you study now? It's a suggestion. So that's actually a grammar point we already learned somewhere in Genki. So that's the first one that I brought up. The next sentence has a bunch of different conditionals. So let's go over them. や、夜になると眠くなるから. So here we have 夜になると眠くなる. When it becomes night, I get tired, or I become tired. 夜になると眠くなる. So this is a very common construction with the to particle. When it's true that it's nighttime, it's also true that I become sleepy because it's nighttime. Kara, so, therefore, 朝になったら勉強する. So here's sort of a hypothetical, right? Which is something else you cannot do with the to particle. When it's true that this thing happens, then I will do this other thing. You can't use the to particle for that. That's where you need the tara. Need the tara. That makes sense. That's where you need tara. So, 朝になったら, when it becomes morning, or if it becomes morning, then I will study. 勉強する. So you cannot say, 朝になると勉強する. What that means is that whenever it becomes morning, I study. What you're saying here is, if it becomes morning, or when it becomes morning, I will study. So it means something very different if you use the to particle. It would mean that you have a habit of when it becomes morning studying, and you can't say that. So you need to use the present tense in front of to, which is another issue here. And yeah, you can't have, what was it again? Let's go back to the top there. I believe you can't have volitional statements, you can't have suggestions, you can't have, it cannot be a command, request, suggestion, invitation, or a volitional, like let's go do something. That can't come after the to conditional. No commands, requests, suggestions, invitations, or volitional let's do somethings after the to particle. So that's why I have to here, 夜になると眠くなる. It's habitual. Whenever it becomes nighttime, I become tired or sleepy. And 朝になったら, when it becomes morning, I will study. Because this is, it's that's the other thing I didn't just mention right now. You can't do something hypothetical. Okay. Question time. Tell me something that happens to you without fail when a season change occurs. 冬になるとインフルエンザにかかる. That's for me. Whenever it becomes winter, I get the flu. Although last winter I did not. So let's go ahead and check out what happened in chat while that whole disaster was going on. There's quite a bit going on in there. Thank you again, Info Abroad. I really appreciate that. I am loved. Good evening, I am loved. You are loved. I love the heart picture. 3杯以上コーヒー3杯以上3杯以上OK コーヒーを飲むと心配になる 3杯it's a different kanji. So what you said is when I drink more than 3 times coffee, as in 3 times the 3x, 3 times the amount of what you normally drink, I guess. So what you want to change that is to the kanji 3杯. There it is. 3杯以上コーヒーを飲むと心配になる。まあでもそれでもいい。And he has stopped. Yes, and he stopped. That was terrible. なんか止めちゃよ、アルウィーナ。No worries, 大丈夫。Also thought it was my computer. Yeah, while the boss is away, we can play. What's an OBS? It's my streaming software that fell apart. フィリピンから見てます。ありがとう、アルウィーナさん。Portugal, Rodrigo. Thank you, man. That's cool. We've got people from all over the place. He is back. Quality is down. You are very blurry. Is my camera blurry? Shouldn't be. Should be fine. 大丈夫だよね. You were about to tell us about just popping in to say hi. Thank you, Lazarus. I think you're gone already, though. What was before that? You probably did, but we weren't with you. Oh, well. お待たせしました。バナナ美味しいですね。美味しいよ。Happy New Year's from Chicago. すごい。Happy New Year's. シカゴじゃない。
なんだって？
Good morning. I don't think it's Chicago unless you're saying Chicago in a different language. 明けましておめでとうございます。ゆき。今夜は松本市から番組を見てる。いいですね。何が違うの？冬になると食べ過ぎちゃう。You are not blurry. Looks good here. はい、どこ？ゆきは明けましておはようございます。She said, okay, I didn't see that. Sorry, I didn't read to the end. I just saw 明けまして and I assumed you said 明けましておめでとうございます is what I assumed. Looks good here. Sweet. 春になると雨と花がすぐ来ます。確かにそうですね。いいね。冬になると食べ過ぎちゃう。Use the chow there. Very good. Good sentence, wasn't it? Yeah, me too, though. Although for some reason I work out a lot harder in winter. I'm not sure why. I always end up going to the gym again. Like, even if I've taken a break for a while, I always end up starting again in the winter. And that's true again this year. I took a break for a year to work on YouTube, and now I finally started going back. So soon my shoulders will not be able to fit in the screen anymore, and I'll have to zoom out. But that's okay. Sorry I've been away for the last couple streams. No worries, Andrew Marsh. Welcome back. How you doing, man? Felipe. 春になると帽子を使う。かぶる。かぶる。So you usually put a, I guess you could use 使う. 使う works, I think, there. You use a hat. You could say you wear a hat. かぶる。でも使うでいい。使う also fine. 春夏秋冬になるとなる。寝る。寝る。なるほど。The four seasons. 春夏秋冬になると寝る。You sleep all the time. Me too. Must be something about winter. 夏になると嬉しくなる。いいですね。Me too. Lee-san, I'm good, thank you. Trying to balance studying Japanese and French simultaneously. I have a fanfic friend who's French. なるほど。At least they're very different from each other, so you'll never really mix them up, I assume. Like, if you were learning French and Spanish together at the same time, I feel like that would be very, very confusing. But French and Japanese, maybe not so bad. 春になるともっと山へ行く。いいですね。なったらかな。なったらね。So you can't really use to there because that's a sort of a hypothetical. You're talking about future plans. 春になったらもっと山へ行く。If you're talking about a habitual sort of thing, whenever it becomes fall, I always go to the mountains more, then I guess that's correct. So if you always go to mountains. But I imagine you're talking about more for a Japan trail cam. So you'd want to say, 春になったらもっと山へ行く。By the way, Happy New Year from Hong Kong. 明けましておめでとうございます。Lee. Thank you very much. 冬になると人生に再起します。いいですね。人生を再起します。人生を再起します。I also updated my Genki collection with the third edition of the text and workbooks. Woo woo woo! I got both editions right over there. I think, there we go. Nice. Congratulations. Yeah, that makes sense. It's coming to Japan. Chinese and Japanese is confusing. Definitely for the reading. I think the pronunciation and the grammar is very different, so that wouldn't be too bad. But I'm not really sure. 申請を再起するね。人生じゃなく、I see. Okay. Okay, so you made a mistake with the kanji. You put 人生 instead of 申請. Okay, 申請を再起する。なるほどね。Gotcha. 人生が合ってるか。でも、人生だったって。人生だった。人生を再起する。なるほど。上司だけを直してくれた。人生に再起するんじゃなくて、人生を再起するね。で、人生を書いてしまった。そういうことで。はい、OK. Good. Alright, guys, good. One thing I want to really quickly mention, I wasn't even going to mention it tonight, but I just remembered right now. I thought I'd mention it since you guys are, here and I have you held hostage. Well, you're not really held hostage. You could always at any time just click onto another video over on the right, but please don't. Please wait. I can't change my channel because that'll... Well, anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at Tokini at home. Yuki and I have created a new vlog channel. We don't have a logo yet, but let's go ahead and pop that up right there. Oh, it's not gonna come up on the screen, is it? It's not gonna happen. Tokini at home. There it is. Okay. So, This is Yuki and my new channel, Tokini at Home. We don't have a logo yet. That's actually going to be a video we do about making a new logo. We've already got it sort of planned out. But our very first video was a $350 a month Japanese apartment tour. That's from the place we just moved from over to here. It's a tour of a very quick tour, very rough tour of the apartment. But if you're interested in seeing stuff that we do around the house or in Japan in general that isn't necessarily about Japanese, if you have some interest in that for some reason, then please consider checking out Tokini at Home. You can find the link on my channel down at the bottom of the list of videos. And yeah, check us out. We just released the channel yesterday, or I guess, is it the 3rd? We released it yesterday, basically. About just over 24 hours ago, I think. And yeah, check it out. Hopefully you can find something that you enjoy there. All right, that was the advertisement for that. Tokini at Home. Go sub to the new channel. Thank you. Come to Japan, Dan. Woo, nice. 夏なっていると Okay, so it has to be in the present tense. なっていると なると. So it has to be in the present tense, short form present tense. So 夏になると暑いから海に行きたい. That makes sense, yeah. But you want to make it 夏になると. So it has to be in the present tense. How and when can I use dictionary form, verb in conversation and such? You can use it at any time you would normally use the must form. And that's it. You can just, anytime. Anytime you'd normally use the must form, if you already know how to use the must form, you could use the dictionary form instead. It's just a little less polite. It's a little more informal. If you're just talking with friends or family, you're generally just going to say 食べる instead of 食べます. So, ご飯を食べる you want to eat lunch or you want to eat food. Instead of ご飯を食べますか you would say ご飯を食べる instead. So just anytime you use the must form, just on its own. Maybe we will be more motivated to learn when the teacher keeps us hostage for the lessons. Looking forward to the content on the new channel. Thank you very much, Lena. Okay, thank you. No worries, no worries. Oh. People are saying they're hostage because I said, while I have you hostage, let me show you the new channel. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump onto the next section, which is, it's quite simple and it's very short. It's simultaneous activity. So basically doing something while you do something else. It's a very useful one. You're going to use it quite often, I feel like. And it's nagara. Nagara. So to use this, you'll take the mas stem, and add nagara, and then the main activity, the main thing you're doing, the most important part of whatever is in the clause. Something mas form plus nagara means while doing this, I do this. そのヒーターがめっちゃ口に当たってめっちゃ乾燥するんだよ口。だからこっちに向いてくれれば。So, okay. The heat from the heater goes directly into my mouth and it completely dries me out. なんか口に入っちゃうね。ここに当たってる直接。いいよ、大丈夫。Alright, so some example sentences. 食べながら話す. So talk while eating. 食べながら話す. Talk while eating. The main thing you're doing is talking. 話しながら歩く. Walk while talking. So the main activity is walk while you're talking. 歩きながら電話するな. 歩きながら電話するな. So this na, you see, it's black background in blue, which means it's something new that does not show up in Genki. And that means do not. It's a very, very strong command. You just take the short form of a verb, the dictionary form, and add na. 電話するな means do not make a phone call while walking. 歩きながら電話するな. So you just take the dictionary form plus na, and it becomes a command. A command. Very strong command. You sound pretty angry when you say it. 運転しながら必ずポッドキャストを聞いています。運転しながら必ずポッドキャストを聞いています。Without fail, I've been listening to podcasts while driving. So the main thing is listening to podcasts, and it's while I'm driving. 必ず means without fail. No exceptions. 必ず. Here we've got a quick conversation between two people. 食べながらテレビを見ていますか? Do you watch television while eating? いや、なるべく見ません。ね、as much as possible, I don't watch TV. ね、as much as possible. なるべく。As much as possible. If at all possible, as best I can, I don't watch TV. なるべく. It's a very useful little word. なるべく. Alright, check out this monstrosity of a dialogue. It's quite long, so I'm going to read it slowly one time, then at full speed I'll go through the English, then we'll go to question time and I'll get to your questions. And yeah, as always. Yuki さん、ドアを閉めてくれない？お、日本語が上手くなったね。まあ、毎日朝ごはんと昼ごはんを食べながら勉強しているし、車を運転しながらも勉強しているし、頑張っています。運転しながら危ないよ。あ、リスニング練習しか聞いていないよ。あ、それなら大丈夫ですね。これからも頑張ってね。はーい。ドアを、あ、ごめん。full speed。ゆきさん、ドアを閉めてくれない？閉めてくれない？お、日本語が上手くなったね。まあ、毎日朝ごはんと昼ごはんも食べながら勉強しているし、車を運転しながらも勉強しているし、頑張っています。運転しながら危ないよ。あ、リスニング練習しか聞いていないよ。あ、それなら大丈夫ですね。これからも頑張ってね。はーい。ドアを、あ、ごめん。はい、let's go over the English. Yuki さん、ドアを閉めてくれない？ Hey, Yuki, wouldn't you shut the door for me? ほう、日本語が上手くなったね。Oh, you've become good at Japanese, haven't you? So this is later on, and she got it right. She didn't use an intransitive verb in place of a transitive verb. ドアを閉めてくれない？まあ、毎日、朝ごはんと、this is the and to. It's the particle to. That means and. It is not the conditional. 朝ごはんと昼ごはんも食べながら勉強しているし。So while I eat, I study. I have been studying. So this is the have been ているし。車を運転しながらも勉強しているし。So while I'm doing this as well, 勉強しているし、頑張っています。I've been working hard. So I'm studying while eating breakfast and lunch, and I'm studying while driving, and I'm working hard. 運転しながら危ないよ。While driving? That's dangerous, man. あ、リスニング練習しか聞いていないよ。So しかない。Remember, しか is it's combined with a negative verb to mean do nothing but that thing or to only do that thing. So リスニング練習しか聞いていないよ。I'm only listening to listening practice, actually. あ、それなら if that's the case, 大丈夫ですね。大丈夫ですね。これからも from now on as well, 頑張ってね。Do your best. はーい。ドアを Heck yeah! About the door. あ、ごめん。Ah, sorry. Question is, tell me something you like to do while eating. 朝ごはんを食べながらユキと喋る。That's what I like to do. So tell me what you like to do while eating. So maybe 昼ごはんも食べながら something something, or just whenever you eat 食べながらテレビを見ます. For example, I like to watch TV. Something like that. So let's go ahead and jump into the chat and see what you guys are up to. Chat on the screen. Okay. How can I use... Okay, I already answered that. ありがとうございます. You're welcome. おやすみな、みんな. Good night, Tobin. Have a good day tomorrow. 明けおめ. I think I probably missed you, but have a good day in Nagano tomorrow. いつもありがとうございます. I didn't get to read your message, your second message yet because the stream started just when it came through, but いつもありがとうございます. 明けまして、明けおめ。松本楽しんでね. Any suggestion for podcasts at this Genki level? I don't listen to podcasts in Japanese. I haven't found any podcasts that I like in Japanese. But if I find any, I'll let you know. Nihongo kon tepe is usually recommended. A podcast for actually studying Japanese. I thought you meant like Japanese, just regular old podcasts. I used to listen to Japanese Pod 101, the actual podcast that they had way back in the day when I was studying Japanese. I found their actual podcasts to be quite useful. Their YouTube channel, I just don't like that they do learn Japanese while you sleep videos. So ethically, I guess, I refuse to watch them. But I did enjoy their podcasts, honestly, way back in the day. Froze a bit only. Yeah, I put the stream tonight on ultra low latency. I'm probably gonna not do that anymore for actual lessons because that really messes up the stream cuts as well. So next week we'll put it on low latency. That's probably why it keeps freezing on you guys. Sorry about that. Question: do you think the end of Genki is a good level to start writing Japanese fanfics? Wondering if that's a viable way to practice reading and writing a language. If they're very, very simple, it's probably a bit too early to start writing, considering you haven't really read much yet, I imagine. You're gonna want to have read quite a bit more otherwise. 明けましておめでとうございます。ありがとう、メンコン。文字通り、have a safe year. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. ゆきちゃん。
私の番ですね。いつもメンコありがとう。メンコ明けおめ。明けておめでとうございますでいいの？
明けまして。
はい、明けましておめでとうございます。文字通り。
でも文字通りだったら明けておめでとうございますかもしれないね。
じゃあ、明けておめでとうございます。文字通り。
ありがとう。Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy New Year, man. 明けましておめでとうございます。Appreciate it. Thank you so much. 明けおめ。そばるぞ。Shenanigans? どこ？ there's a bunch of sentences. Okay. Yeah, so back to my answer to Andrew's question. It's probably a bit early to start writing fan fictions, in my opinion. You're gonna probably want to do quite a bit of reading in Japanese before you jump into writing, because like writing in Japanese is quite different from speaking in Japanese, which is what we've been focusing on mostly with Genki. There's a lot of extra stuff going on, so you're gonna want to read a lot. I strongly suggest something like Satori Reader. If you can go through Satori Reader stuff and get through all of that, which you can do at the end of Genki, no problem. Even during Genki, you'll get a better idea of what it's like what writing in Japanese is like, and maybe as you start going into like the intermediate textbooks, if we start doing quartet, there's a lot of writing practice. So when you get to the end of that, I think you'll be in a much better position to start writing. But you can certainly try. There's nothing wrong with trying. All right, sentences. 私も掃除しながら聞く練習しています。いいですね。All right. 朝食を食べながら読むのが好きです。いいですね。Oh, you used the のが好きです。I was hoping someone would do that. Good job on it. 食べながらビールを飲むのが好き。いいですね。I get lost of Japanese pod. Too much content. Fair enough. It's not very organized in my opinion. Fair enough. They haven't changed anything, I don't think, in about 10 years. Sobaruzo, I agree. ご飯を食べながらシェナニガンを引き起こします。シェナナゲン引き起こします。わかりました。You various shenanigans you're onto. I've never seen shenanigan in Japanese, but I'll give it to you. Shenanigans はなんかいろんな面白いことをやってるんだってってことですね。でも日本語はないかな Shenanigans わかんない。昼ご飯を食べながら必ず水をたくさん飲んでいます。いいですね、モイシーフ。Don't worry, man. I knew what you said. It's 明けましてね。夜ご 夜ご飯を食べながらいろいろなことを考えています。学校のこととか、未来のこととか。いいですね、アルイナ。Good sentence. おほほ、says Yuki. 夕飯。夜、夜飯 I've never seen it written like that. 夜食かな。そうだね。夜食ね。Usually it's just 夕飯 or 夕ご飯. Yoru gohan is actually perfectly fine, the one you put there. Yahan, I haven't really. That's really late at night, maybe. Yashoku. Asa gohan. I don't say that very well. Asa gohan を食べながら暗記を復習している。いいですね。ありがとうございます。小説を読みながら辞書を使います。辞書を使います。There you go. Okay, thanks so much. My French friend got really good at English via writing her fanfic, so I wanted to get a good idea of the level required to do that for Japanese since I like writing fanfics. Yeah, I mean, if you do it and you can get corrections very regularly on all of it, it can probably help you a lot. If you're just putting it out there and not getting some serious corrections from native Japanese people, it probably won't be helpful immediately after Genki. It's probably going to be too soon. You're going to want to do a lot of reading first in Japanese because it's quite a bit different from what we're learning. Not quite a bit different. It's just there's a lot more going on. And yeah, if you get through the intermediate textbook though, I think you're going to have a lot better grasp because it does help you a lot with writing. Writing Japanese is very hard from my experience. It takes a really long time to get good at it. Yes. I thought gohan is breakfast. Now I see. I was meaning to say yoru meshi, but I guess that's wrong. It's not necessarily wrong. It's just... Yoru meshi? Boyish? It sounds like it's very masculine. Masculine nanda. I've never heard yoru meshi, but apparently it's a very masculine way of saying it. Very masculine. I should probably use it then. Yoru meshi. It sounds rough, eh? Sounds very rough. You want to say yuhan or yoru gohan. You were right the first time, actually. Yuhan. This is yuhan. Or yoru gohan, which you were correct on. Yoru gohan. Or just yuhan is actually fine too. Did I already say that? Yuhan. I already said that. Okay, so those are the ones you're going to want to go for probably. All right, guys. Sweet. What's our next section? Our next section is the one I'm not super happy about. It's our final section for this lesson. And it's, I wish I had. I wish I had. All right, let's just do it. I'm going to rant a little bit, guys. Before we jump into this section, we need to do a quick Godan conjugation crash course once again. So Godan conjugation, what it means is there's these 5 different hiragana. So 5 different sounds for a single consonant. So k, the k consonant has ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. So there's 5 of them, right? And those are the 5 steps in Godan conjugation. And the reason that it's called 5 steps is because to conjugate verbs in Japanese, what you do for Godan verbs that can be conjugated this way, which is everything except for verbs that end in the sound iru or edu, and usually suru and kuru. The verb to do, suru, and kuru, to come, cannot be conjugated this way. Usually, iru and edu verbs that end in those sounds, they are conjugated differently as well. But most verbs are Godan verbs, most of them. So they're conjugated this way. Aruku, you'd move it up to aruki, and for example add mas, back down to aruku, which is the dictionary form, down to aruke, which is the command form, but it's also one we're going to be covering today. And yeah, so you just move it up and down this chart like this to get different conjugations. And then you add something else. And the one we're going over today is the ba conditional, but that's not what we're going over today. The ba conditional isn't actually taught in Genki 2 until lesson 20, I believe 22. But they're teaching you a grammar form that requires the ba form in this lesson. So we're on lesson 18. And we're about to teach you the grammar point ba yokatta. But to use ba yokatta, you need to know how to conjugate verbs into the ba conditional, which isn't taught until lesson 22. What the hell is that? That makes literally no sense. So what I'm about to do is I'm going to teach you how to make the ba conditional, but not how to use it, because that's not until lesson 22. So I'm sorry about that. I'm just following the Genki path, which makes no sense. And they even admit in the book, we're not going to teach you how to use the ba conditional until lesson 22, but here's how you make it so that you can use this version of it. Whatever. All right, the ba conditional. So we move down to the e column. So we take aruku, move it down to e, aruke, and add ba. Aruku becomes aruke, ba. And now we have the ba conditional of a godan verb. If it was, well, one good thing about this, one good thing to note is that there are no exceptions. None. Iru and edu verbs, ichidan verbs, they're conjugated like godan verbs. Suru and kuru, conjugated like godan verbs in this situation. So, for example, kuru, you just go down to the e column, kude ba. Suru, you go down to the e column, sure ba. Iru edu verbs, aru. What's a good iru and edu verb? Let me think of one. Taberu. You go down to the e column, tabere ba. So, no exceptions. Good news, right? If you're going for the ba conditional, you just take the last character, go down to the a column in that character's list. So for if it ends in du, you go down to de and add ba. And you got the ba conditional. I'll talk more about how to use the ba conditional in lesson 22 when Genki actually teaches it. The only reason you need to know how to make this conjugation today is because Genki decided that it was a good time to teach you ba yokatta. Ba yokatta. Which is a conditional action followed by yokatta. It would have been good if, the past tense of good, would have been good if I did this thing. Which which translates or has the feeling of I wish I had done a certain action, or I should have done a certain action. In the third person, when you're talking about how you wish someone else did something, or you think that they should have done something, we're going to usually add to omo or to omoimasu to the end of this construction. So for example, I think you should have done a certain action, conditional action, ba yokatta to omo or to omoimasu, because it's sort of presumptive to say it would have been better if you did this thing about another person. It's better to say, I think it would be better if you had done this thing. So please be careful with this when you're talking about what you think other people should have done. Omo. Let's go over some example sentences. Tabereba yokatta na. Man, I wish I ate. That's what that means. Literally, it would have been good if I ate. Na. Tabereba yokatta na. So check that out. Taberu. It's an iru and edu verb. Well, it's an edu verb. It's an ichidan verb, but it doesn't matter. We treat it like a godan verb. We go tabereba yokatta na. The next sentence is party ni ikeba yokatta desu. I wish I went to the party. Party ni ikeba yokatta desu. Party ni ikeba yokatta. I wish I went to the party. Iku, not an exception. It sometimes is. Just move down to the A column. Ikeba yokatta desu. Hanaseba yokatta to omoimasu yo. You know, I think you should have spoken to them is implied. Hanaseba yokatta to omoimasu yo. I think you should have spoken to them. You can also do this with negative things that you wish someone hadn't done or that you wish you hadn't done. And to do that, you just take the negative conditional action. So it's kind of weird, not negative conditional action. It's sort of confusing here. What I want you to do is I want you to take the negative of a verb. So for example, tabe nai, the short form negative is what that should say, I guess. Short form negative, so tabe nai, for example. You cut the e and add kereba, nakereba. So tabe nakereba yokatta. And the des is optional. I wish I hadn't done. So negative conditional action. I don't know what's you know what? Let's just fix that. Let's just fix it. That makes no sense. Short form negative. Well, that's just better, isn't it? Short form negative. Negative conditional action. No. What's that? Size 14. Whatever. Okay. Well, that makes more sense, doesn't it? So what you do to say you wish you hadn't done something is you take the short form negative, the short form negative, so for example, 食べない or 歩かない, you cut the E, which I don't have here, and you add ければよかった. So なければよかった. For the third person, just like before, you take the short form negative, cut the E, and add ければよかったと思う or と思います. I think you shouldn't have done a certain thing. So some example sentences, same ones as before, but we went with the negative, is you take 食べない, cut the E, and add ければ. 食べなければよかったな. Man, I wish I didn't eat. パーティーに行かなければよかったです. I wish I didn't go to the party. 行かない, cut the E, ければよかった. 行かなければよかった. 話さなければよかったと思いますよ. You know, I think you shouldn't have spoken to them. So, 話さない, cut the E, add ければ. 話さなければよかったと思いますよ. And that brings us to the dialogue. So, let's go. Slowly one time, then full speed, then I'll go over the English. I will get to question time, and then I'll answer any questions that you might have, and we can chat for a bit. So, 最近どう?少し上手くなったと思う。若い時もっと勉強すればよかった。大丈夫だよ。今頑張ってるでしょう。まあ、そうだね。でもわかる。若い時あんなに遊ばなければよかった。まあ、しょうがないね。そうだね。Full speed. 最近どう?少し上手くなったと思う。若い時もっと勉強すればよかった。大丈夫だよ。今頑張ってるでしょ?まあそうだね。でもわかる。若い時あんなに遊ばなければよかった。遊ばなければよかった。まあしょうがないね。そうだね。All right, let's go over the English. 最近どう? This is a nice, very informal way to ask, how have you been recently? Instead of saying to someone, o genki desu ka, every single time you see them, which is very awkward, you should instead say something like maybe, 最近どう? How have you been recently? 最近どう? Much better than genki desu ka. Don't say genki desu ka every time you meet someone. Just don't do it. Say 最近どう? If you haven't seen them in a while. 少し上手くなったと思う. I think I've become a little better at Japanese. So it's implied here. 最近上手くなったと思う because we had talked about it earlier. 若い時 when I was younger. もっと勉強すればよかった. I wish I studied more. Or it would have been good if I studied more. So you'll notice here 勉強する. Usually する is an irregular, but for the ba conditional form, it's not. You just treat it like a go down verb. You go down to the A column. すれば. Which is nice, right? 勉強すればよかった. 大丈夫だよ. Let's get rid of that. 今頑張ってるでしょ? So we cut the E here. So it's very informal conversation. 頑張っている is what this is supposed to be. 頑張ってる is the more informal version. 頑張ってるでしょ? Don't worry about it. 大丈夫だよ. You're working hard right now, right? 今頑張ってるでしょ? 頑張っているでしょ? It's easier for me to say 頑張っている. It's easier for Japanese people to say 頑張ってる, I think. 頑張ってるでしょ? まあそうだね. まあ well, yeah, true. でもわかる. But I understand. That should be read. 若い時あんなに遊ばなければよかった. I wish I didn't mess about or play around that much. あんなに when I was young. あんなに that much 遊ばなければよかった. I wish I didn't play around so much when I was young. まあしょうがないね. So this is a very important phrase that you need to know if you're going to be speaking Japanese in the future. しょうがない. It's a philosophy in Japanese. Nothing can be done about it is what it means. What can you do about it? It's already done. These are things that we didn't do when we were young, and we can't undo the fact that we didn't do them. Nothing can be done about it. しょうがない. So when something is occurring in your life and you're feeling bad about it, or you're talking to someone who feels down about some mistake they made in the past, This is a very useful phrase. It means, まあ、しょうがないね. Nothing can be done about it. So, often Japanese people in the workplace will say しょうがない when actually something can be done about it, but they're too scared to do it. So you'll need to get used to that as well. そうだね. Fair enough. Question time. Tell us something that you wish you did more of in 2020. もっと読めばよかった is what I wish I did more of in 2020. もっと読めばよかった. I wish I read more. So what's something that you wish you did more of in 2020? Let's see what's going on in chat. All right. Oh, not too much. Let's pop it up on screen. Genki be trolling. Agreed. Very annoying. Ne. Aslam alaikum. Aslam alaikum ってどういう意味ですか？あ、こんばんは。Aslam alaikum. Maybe good evening. Konnichiwa. Hello, konnichiwa. Welcome, Ahmed Aldawood. Welcome to the stream. I have just started learning Japanese and I am unable to be consistent. Any tips? That's a good question, Menkong. What is your definition of consistent? Would shikata ga nai be the same? Yes, shikata ga nai is very similar. It's almost the same idea. Yeah. It's like it is what it is. Yes, it's very much like it is what it is. I don't know if you're still here, Ahmed. You may have stepped away because I was, on a roll through my lessons. But the idea, the way you can become more consistent with your learning is experiment with how you're learning. So what I think what most people struggle with is they think they have to stick to a specific regimen, like a specific way of learning. They think they have to use this textbook in this way, or they need to use this deck of cards in this way. It doesn't help that there's a whole basically industry in the language learning community right now of selling ideas that are the best. This is the best way to learn a language, or this is the only way to learn a language, or if you want to sound native, you better learn this way, or you're going to be terrible at the language. That is very unhelpful for people because what happens is they end up studying in a way that they don't like. Some people do like it and they stick with it, and that's great. But if you don't like what you're doing to study, you will not stick with it. You won't. Nobody does. So I think that a lot of people that have a hard time sticking with learning a language have a hard time because they don't actually want to do what they're doing. Like, if I don't enjoy watching a certain TV show, why would I watch it every day? I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't because I don't enjoy it. Well, then why are so many people watching, for example, stuff they don't enjoy just so that they can learn the language? Like, why? Why bother? And the fact is that people don't bother because they don't want to. So my tip is to try a bunch of different things when you're starting out until you find some things that you like and that you can kind of think like, well, I like this enough. I could probably do it every day. And then do it every day. Set a time every day that you have. If you have any kind of free time every day, set a block aside and do that thing every single day. And when you start hating it and finding yourself having a very difficult time sticking to it, try something new. It's not always easy learning a language. It's not always easy. There's difficult times, and whether or not you get really good at the language is sort of dependent on whether you push through it anyway. But your ability to get to the point where it's time to push is going to be very dependent on whether or not you've found a system that you actually enjoy and you actually want to do. And also having a reason to learn the language is very important as well. Like if you have a reason to learn Japanese that makes sense, a very real goal, it makes it a lot easier as well. And having a group around you of people who are also interested in learning helps as well. If you want, check out the Discord. There's a link down in the description. We have a bunch of people who are all learning Japanese in there that are really supportive and really fun in the Discord. And maybe they can help you. And maybe I can help you too because I'm in there a lot. All right. That's my soapbox for the day. Maybe I'll cut that into a clip and release it. もっとビデオを作ればよかった。says Come to Japan Dan. そうだね。俺もそうだ. It's Islamic greeting or something. Nice. Okay. もっと運動すればよかったです is one in it. Don't we all? But hooked on making JTZ videos. I know, that sounds like they're going great, man. That's awesome. 告白しなければ心を傷つかないな。まあそうだね。つかなかったかな。If you did make a confession of love and you wish you didn't, then maybe what you would say is 告白しなければ傷をつかなかったな is probably what you want to say. A little painful. Sorry. もっと運動と日本語を勉強できれば So できる is also conjugated just like a go down verb. So できればよかった。できればよかった。今年新しい経験をすればよかった。まあね。できればよかったかな。夜でもっと早く眠ればよかった。大丈夫。もっと早く So you're modifying the verb, so you need to change the adjective into an adverb, and to do that, you cut the e and add ku, or turn the e into a ku if that makes more sense to you. You can turn any adjective into an adverb by cutting the e and changing it to a ku. So 早い becomes 早く眠ればよかった。眠ればよかった or 寝ればよかった。夜にもっと早く眠ればよかった。Andy, I know you took the N3 a while ago, if I recall. How many times can we listen to the listening comprehension, and is Quartet 1 good enough for N3? If you finish all of Quartet and have some extra kanji on the side, and you do a lot of listening separately, and a lot of speaking practice, I think it's enough. If you just go through the textbook only, which I know you're not, but if you did only go through Genki and only go through Quartet and nothing else, no, it would not be enough. But if you're listening to real stuff and you're talking to people and practicing, the stuff introduced in the book should be enough for you to pass N3. And the listening comprehension is just once, I believe. Some of the exercises they may repeat one time. So like they'll say the two people have their conversation, then they'll ask the question, and then the two people have the conversation again, they'll ask the question one more time. I think that's how it was, but this was 6 years ago, I can't remember exactly. Excuse me. Here's the link. Thank you, Come to Japan Dad. Well, hello, I am new to your channel. I watched a video that I randomly got recommended, and I subscribed to you. Your content is really nice. Now this stream got recommended. I'm grateful to find this. Welcome, Aditya. I'm glad that you were able to stop by. This lesson, if you just started watching my channel, maybe a little bit advanced. Well, we're finished, actually. But I'm glad you stopped by anyway, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the video that you found. I'm curious to see which one was recommended to you. Oh, I thought dekiru was already a conjugation of suru. Is that the case? Yes. Dekiru is a conjugation of suru. It's the, well, sort of. It's the potential version of suru. But it's also sort of a word on its own, and you can still conjugate it into certain forms. And deba is one of them. You can say dekireba yokatta. There's a couple other conjugations you can use dekiru with dekimasu, dekita, dekimashita, stuff like that. You can't do the potential form with dekiru, obviously, because it is the potential form of suru. So you can't say, what would it be if you could conjugate it? Dekirareru. You can't say dekirareru. You can't conjugate it like that. And you can't do, I guess, volitional form, sort of commands, stuff like that, with dekiru, but you can conjugate it in some ways, like potential. I had a same cue as Ahmed. I learned Kana, and now I'm sticking with Genki 1, and I'm not consistent. But now I have found your stream, so I'm going to learn from your old ones, and answer was perfect. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. I'm happy that the answer worked. Maybe I will clip that out. I feel like it could be helpful for some other people. Soka, arigato, sensei. Ii. Have to go now. Thank you so much. See you later, one on it. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great night. For all of you who are still here, thumbs up. Oh, 攻撃してください. Please smash the thumbs up button. チャンネル登録お願いします. Please subscribe and, well, you don't have to smash it. Just hit that bell lightly so that you get notifications whenever we go live here, and you can come hang out in the live streams with us. There's lots more to come this year here on Tokini Andy and on Tokini at Home, so we hope to see you there. I'm still going to hang out for a few more minutes, though. So, dekirareru. Yeah, you can't say that. I see. I should be able to finish all Joyo by July, but I took the practice for N3, and listening comprehension threw me off so much. Yeah. Listening comprehension is interesting. What I've found that helps most with listening comprehension is being able to say what they are saying in the listening. If you can say on your own what is being said in a listening test, you'll understand it because you know how to say it. So my suggestion is to get a bunch of scripts maybe of the listening tests and learn them, learn how to say them, learn how to have the conversation that they're having. Because if you can have that conversation, you'll know what they're saying. And that's what helped me. I didn't really practice listening for N3. I practiced speaking. So I spoke every day. I took I lessons and I practiced speaking the grammar points, using the grammar points in conversation every time, whenever possible. And because I could speak it, that meant I could hear it. Like, listening, I don't think personally, just listening will lead to perfect speaking. But speaking does lead to perfect listening, in my opinion. So practice speaking more. And also just, watch a lot of content. Obviously, that helps a lot. But maybe also listen to a bunch of, find some podcasts or something that have question and answers at the end. That might help. Try and ask yourself questions based on stuff you listen to, like maybe read a Satori Reader. I think you have Satori Reader, and if you do, then I would listen to, instead of reading it, don't read a story. Just press play up at the top so you can listen to the whole thing, and then see if you can summarize what was said, even if it's in English. Like if you can summarize what you just heard. So that's a great way actually to practice. You could use Satori Reader. Please consider checking out the Patreon, says Coming to Japan Dan. Yes, please do. Please consider checking out the Patreon. It's very helpful, and it's what keeps these lessons free. And can you give me some tips too? I'm only now know kanji and some phrases. Can you suggest how to practice listening and speaking in some books too? If you have Genki 1, that's a good start for a book. If there's any other book that you're gonna pick up, then this one is the one you want. Like a dictionary of basic Japanese grammar. If there's any book other than Genki that you're going to pick up, this is the one to get. I used this instead of Genki 1 when I was learning Japanese. Just this. This is the only book I used. And Remembering the Kanji by James Heiseg is a book for kanji. Some people like it, some people don't. Wanikani is a good website that a lot of people like for learning kanji. Wanikani. You can use all the videos on this channel to basically go through all of the grammar in Genki 1 and almost finish with Genki 2. We've got 5 more lessons, so this channel is a great help. There's tons of channels on YouTube that teach Japanese, obviously. And yeah, Satori Reader is one I like. They sponsored a video here in this channel, but I accepted the sponsorship because I love their content. There's an application called Satori Reader. Yeah. Practicing speaking italki, or just finding people that want to speak on Skype, is a great way to practice speaking if you don't live in the country. Listening practice, listen to YouTube videos. And yeah, YouTube videos are a great way to learn to listen. And if you have Netflix, look for shows that are in Japanese. That might help as well. If you're so inclined and you're looking for extra practice to use with Genki, and you are going to be using my videos, there's also the Patreon, which has a bunch of extra content on it for listening, speaking practice, shadowing on Patreon. It's not easy, but it is practice. And textbook practice at the end of every lesson in Genki. Yuki and I do videos based on those textbook practices where we do them with you. So those might help as well. Oh, that's a good idea. Thanks for that idea about Satori. No worries, man. I learned kana earlier. Congratulations! You're on your first step. Make sure you never use romaji again. Only use kana to write out words. And Yuki, do you like Hoshino Gen's music? Hoshino Gen maski? She used to like him. Maybe not so much now, I guess? I've never listened. I wish I can understand the lyrics one day. At least the music sounds good. I hope you can one day too. I think if you keep it up, you will be able to. Great idea, says TFM. Nice. She said the lyrics are very understandable and straightforward, I guess. So he might be very good for learning to for practicing Japanese. So that's good. Where can I find a place to practice Japanese, like speaking and listening and such? Because it's hard to find someone to do so. iTalki is a good one. It's not free, but it's a lot of tutors. Lots of tutors available for Japanese on iTalki. They used to be really cheap, but I think they're getting a little bit more expensive because of all the demand. I know a lot of people like HelloTalk. HelloTalk. I've never used HelloTalk, so I can't give it a full-hearted recommendation. I've heard great things and I've heard not so great things about it. But some people love it, so you could check out HelloTalk. That's another great way that you could find some natives to practice like texting with and maybe speaking with as well. HelloTalk. Yeah. Genki 1, iTalk Netflix, your channel. Yeah, that's one great way. Unfortunately, all of those things cost money. That's the only bummer. But YouTube does not cost money, so make as much use as you can out of YouTube. Cheers, TFM. いつもありがとうございます, Moiseev. Thank you, good night. Good night, Moiseev. Thank you for the rubles. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I often get confused with Chinese, English, and Japanese. Most things seem like Japanese, and I use all sorts of Chinese and English words that's not in Japanese. When you learn a couple languages, like when I started learning Japanese, I had just finished a trip to, quite a long trip to Spain, and I had learned a lot of Spanish while I was there. So I mixed those up a lot in the beginning. But when you start focusing on one, you'll get better. You'll figure it out. But I understand. I love Crude Angel Thesis. The fact I was able to understand a part of it was amazing. Nice. Can you share your thoughts on whether to have the closed captions turned on or off while watching Japanese videos? I always, when I watch Netflix, when I watch anime on YouTube, I always have the captions turned on for Japanese. I always have the Japanese captions turned off. I'm not sure whether you mean having the English on while watching Japanese videos. That I would not recommend. You will not pick up the Japanese. You might hear words here and there that you know, but you're not going to pick it up. Turning on the Japanese subtitles, on the other hand, I prefer it because it's a great way to kill two birds with one stone. Reading practice and listening practice. So I like to do both. But it's up to you. Obviously, you might get a little bit better at listening without them, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it really matters one way or the other, personally. If you prefer having them off, then there's no reason not to have them off. And if you prefer having them on, then go for it. I haven't noticed... Like, I find it easier, like, if I see a word that I didn't know, I'll be able to notice that from seeing it much easier than just hearing it. Like, it'll give me a better idea of what to search for if I see it pop up. In my case, it's a little bit different because I already, like, if I'm watching an anime or something, I already understand at least 98% probably of what's showing up on screen. So it's only a word here or there that maybe I don't know. So it's much easier to catch them, and it's especially easier if I can see them, because okay, it's that word. I can look it up really quick, or I can write the kanji out on a kanji, on my screen, and the word pops up if I didn't hear it clearly. But if you just hear it, inputting it, like where does the word end and begin? Did you miss something? Yeah, so I like to have them on, but it's up to you. Can you ask about the band Luck Life, how people receive it in Japan from the other person? I guess he or she is Japanese. I don't think there's any other Yuki. Luck Life. I've never heard of Luck Life. Yuki は Luck Life っていうバンド聞いたことある？
なんかな。
Luck Life. Luck Life. Luck Life is a J-pop band from Osaka. From March 2007, they were known as Maxim Tomato until changing to their current name in Tokyo in 2008. In 2013 and 2015, Luck Life was represented by Highway Star at their present. Yuki does not know Luck Life. Luck Life っていうバンド見たことないんだって。She's never heard of them. So I don't know. I don't know what Japanese people think about them. I'm sorry. いやだって2007年に始まったから新しくないね。でもユキは2007年には何歳だっけ？若かったよね。16か。
うん、17じゃない。
16。1901だから、91だから。I think she was only 16 or 17 then, so you'd think she would know who they are, but hasn't heard of them, so I'm sorry. All right, guys. Well, it is 11:15 p.m. and it's time, I think, for us to say good night. But just gave them like 30 seconds of a listen and they seem okay. I came to know about them from an anime. They're one of my favorites now. Nice. We'll have to check them out. What anime? Luck Life. But anyway, let us know down in the chat what anime it was that you saw them in, and maybe that will bring a light bulb up into Yuki's head over there. I don't know what the saying is for that. My brain is going, lessons over, time for bed. All right, guys. My brain goes away at that point. Thank you so much. It's time to run the thank you for tonight. Bungo Stray Dogs. They do? I don't know if that's a Japanese name or not. But anyway, she's going to look it up and she'll let you know down in chat before I close down the stream for good. But thank you so much, guys. Have a great day, and I hope to see you next time. One more time. 明けましておめでとうございます。今年もよろしくお願いします。Happy New Year, and I hope to see you more this year. Good luck. Keep it up, guys. See you next week. Oh, she does know. 文豪ストレイドッグス。文豪ストレイドッグスって知ってる？She knows it. She knows it. All right. But she's never seen it. All right. See you later, guys. Thank you. ありがとうございます。
お疲れ様でした。
また次のビデオで会いましょうね。日本語勉強したいのか？俺と同じ風に日本語を喋れるようになりたいのか？この本持ってるのか？ Then we're here to help. え、そうなの？俺は無理って言おうと思った。On the Tokini Andy Patreon, we have listening and shadowing practice, Genki vocabulary practice, Genki textbook practice where Yuki, Ando, and I are your partners. Eventually, even workbook practice. え、そうなの？給料出る？
確かに。
Yeah, sure.
給料出るんだ。
After Genki 1, we'll be covering Genki 2, and eventually even intermediate textbooks. Detailed grammar lessons and Japanese Q&As will, as always, be on the YouTube for free. Tokini Andy Patreon, live right now. よろしくね。
よろしくお願いします。